Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Mistress Sky. I have a spooky story here for you guys today. I hope you guys thoroughly enjoy it. This was emailed to me anonymously. Well, I know who sent it to me, but they didn't want me to say their name. So I hope you guys are doing fantastic today, and I hope you guys are having a very, very chill day today. And I hope you guys have been enjoying my videos over here on this channel. I want to say thank you to every single one of you out there that have subscribed to my channel. Whether you're from my reaction channel or if you're new here, I want to say welcome, and I want to say thank you for taking the time for liking my videos, watching my videos, and supporting my content. So, without further ado, I bring you a very spooky story. Let's get started. The Tall Black Figure. It was around the chilly fall season, and I was in Nebraska visiting my family. I would stay with my grandparents every time I was in town. It was always fun to visit my family in the small little town of Ashland, Nebraska, a small town right in between Lincoln and Omaha. My grandparents had a typical farmhouse, big 4-story house complete with a picturesque wraparound porch. Their home sat on 5 acres of land. I loved being there, but at the same time, I was also a little spooked. I mean, a big city girl in the middle of nowhere, in a big house, on a ton of land, where your nearest neighbors are miles away. My grandparents' house was built in the early 1920s, and to be honest with you, it always gave me the creeps to stay there. But at the same time, I loved staying there. I experienced something so terrifying that still to this day I cannot explain. There were 4 of us staying over, me, my sister, and my 2 older cousins. My cousins would always tell us spooky stories about their experiences at our grandparents' house, like the TVs going on and off, or the volume blasting out of nowhere on the clock radio in the living room, hearing footsteps on the staircases, and even seeing shadows. Of course, both me and my sister would laugh it off and call them paranoid. But on this one particular night, I was proven wrong. We would often all sleep in the living room at my grandparents' and make a night of it, staying up late, watching movies, talking. We were all fast asleep on the floor one night. It had to be around 3 in the morning when I suddenly woke up. I laid there for a minute before I repositioned myself to fall back asleep. As I turned over, I looked in the direction of the dining room, and that's when I saw it, a figure, a big tall figure with an odd-shaped head and long arms and legs. It was pitch black in the entire house, but I could clearly see a black figure darker than its surroundings. That is creepy. Oh my god, that's creepy. It's funny, I also experienced something like that before. Looking straight at me. I couldn't see any eyes, but I knew it was looking in my direction and at me. I was frozen as to what I was seeing, but quickly snapped out of it once I noticed a figure coming closer in my direction. Oh God. I yanked the covers back over my head and buried my head into my pillow and snuggled up close to my cousin, who was still asleep, hoping that I wouldn't hear anything or feel anything. The room grew cold, but still everyone lay there asleep except for me. I then began to hear footsteps getting closer and closer to me, and then they stopped, and I laid there for a bit before I dared look up from the covers. I took a peek, and nothing. I looked over to the dining room, and the figure was gone. The room began to warm up to its regular temperature. I thought the coast was clear and turned over on my back, just waving it off as my imagination may be messing with me. As I slowly fall back asleep, I feel the room grow cold again. I try to move and cover myself up, but I couldn't move. I couldn't speak. I looked down at the end of my feet, and there it was again. This tall, black figure with no face staring at me. I laid there terrified. I couldn't move. I couldn't scream. The figure's eyes began to glow a very faint red. I was losing it, but could not do anything about it. I thought to myself, there's no way this is happening. Within seconds, the figure fades away, and I'm able to move. My first reaction was to scream, but I didn't want to wake up the entire house. I laid there all night without 1 second of sleep for the rest of the night. I couldn't wrap my head around what I just experienced. But in that moment, I knew my cousins were not, in fact, crazy. It took me a year before I could go back to my grandparents' house. But ever since that night, when I do go back, I experience little odd happenings, such as the TV going off and on, lights coming on or going off on their own, doors slamming. I believe what I saw was not a shadow person, but in fact a demon, something so evil and not of good. What do you think? What I think is that is very, very, very creepy. And I have family in Nebraska, and I know exactly where Ashland, Nebraska is. And like, that just gives me like serious freaking goosebumps. And I have, okay, so if you want to know a story about me, this is very, very similar to what I experienced when I was a kid. So creepy, and that like not sleep paralysis, but I guess in a sense some sort of paralysis where you can't move, and this figure has, or this entity had that sort of grip on you that is beyond like beyond creepy to me. Like, it is, that's a whole different territory. And I think you can most definitely tell the vibes between something that is like a ghost, like maybe a loved one that is passed over and they're coming to say hello and visit you, or something that is just like a very, very, very evil force, or you feel like it wants to like cause harm to you, or it wants to hurt you, or severely scare you. And yeah, I have experienced like lights coming off and on. To if you watched my 3 videos that I have here on my channel, this is the fourth one, and not my last video, but the second video that I uploaded. I was telling you about my sister, and my sister has always had these weird things happening in her house. And I remember one time being over at her house. She had this huge, huge TV entertainment system. And right in the middle, your TV obviously would go in there, and on the side were these shelves. Well, where these shelves were at the very top were these like touch LED lights. You had to touch these lights in order for them to come on. That's it. That's the only way they would come on. In her bedroom, she was talking about how her and her husband, my brother-in-law, would hear like these scratches on the wall, and I'm like, that cannot be a good thing. Like, to me, that's something trying to scare you. She always has so many odd things happen to her in all of the houses that she lives in. And I remember this one time, I had my puppy. Yeah, she's no longer here with me. I lost her about 2 years ago, but I had my puppy and I took her over to my sister's house so my nieces and nephews could, play with the puppy and go over and see them and, hang out for a bit. My brother-in-law leaves and he takes my nephews with him, my nieces and nephews with him. I think he goes to the store. I'm not sure I don't remember where he went to do something with the kids. It was me and my sister and my new puppy. And so we were sitting there just hanging out talking, and all of a sudden, like, the LED lights on her entertainment center come on. And we were both just like, okay, what was that? You have to touch these lights in order for them to come on. And as soon as we looked at each other and said, like, what the heck, they went back off. I was already kind of freaked out. And my sister just kind of laughed it off. I guess she's just used to weird stuff like that happening in her house. But no, I'm not. So, it's probably like 15 minutes later. I'm playing with my puppy and I'm throwing this toy down the hallway, and my puppy's retrieving it. My sister went to the restroom, which is in that hallway where I was throwing the ball. And as I was getting ready to toss that ball again, we both hear, and I'm talking about me and my puppy, we both hear this loud bang. And there really wasn't this loud bang towards the end of the hallway. And we both we both looked down towards the end of the hallway. And at the same time, it was so cute. At the same time, both me and my puppy look at each other. My puppy looks up at me. I look down at my puppy. And that right there was like just enough evidence for me to know that my dog heard the exact same thing that I heard. And well, I kind of just chalked it up to my sister dropping something in the restroom, or something like that. She gets out and I go, did you drop something in the restroom, or did you, did something fall? She goes, no. Why? I go, did you hear that big loud bang? And she goes, oh, I thought that was you throwing the dog toy. I was like, no. I didn't throw anything. And not only that, I heard it, my puppy heard it, and you heard it, and everything's in place, nothing fell down, and it most definitely was a noise. It came, it was inside the house. It was so loud. It was inside the house. When there's a loud noise that occurs like outside your house, this was inside the house, and it sounded like it was in that hallway. It was, it just gives me chills when stuff like this happens. That just gave me chills, like reading your story, and like the fall time in Nebraska, and leaves are changing, and it's, like pumpkin patches, and I'm more likely you're out on a farm at your grandparents' old house, like, creepy. I don't know. I think it all depends on like how you felt in that moment. And by me reading your story, you seem like you were terrified, like freaking terrified. Thank you for writing that story. You know who you are. You did not want to be shouted out. I want to say thank you for emailing me and letting me share your story here. But you guys, if you happen to have a spooky story of your own that you would like me to share here, please do email me your story to the email in the description below. All of my information, like social media, Instagram, other content that I create, all my links are going to be in the description below, as well as the email if you have a paranormal story or a spooky story that you would like to share with me. I would love to read my subscriber stories. So this is my first one, and I'm super, super excited. You guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and yeah, I hope you have a wonderful, lovely, and chilling evening. Until next time, my name is Mistress Sky.